Is true Ultra Instinct going to end up being Goku's absolute mastery of the form and the best fitting version of Ultra Instinct for himself, or is there more to it? How does it tie into his father Bardock and what he learned during the Granola arc? As the Granola arc wraps up, today we're going to go back and look at true Ultra Instinct Goku and analyze the steps it took to get here and what it truly means going back to the original Saiyuki. Welcome to a very special edition of Dragon Ball X Saiyuki, where today we discuss true Ultra Instinct and how Goku used this technique against Gas in the Granola arc. We now found out just a few days ago that Ultra Instinct's version that Goku is using with his emotions, where he's able to tap into his emotions, is referred to as true Ultra Instinct. And this could actually be the proper version that Goku can use in combat from now on. We're going to be talking about not only where this idea came from based on Journey to the West, but also how it ties into Goku's father Bardock. So Jordan, welcome back, of course. This is a bonus edition of Dragon Ball X Saiyuki, but I want to ask you before we go any further, do you think that this is indeed Ultra Instinct in base for Goku? Is that what this is?
Yeah, in a sense. I think, we saw Bardock use a similar principle in base, and I think, regardless, what Bardock did in base is the key to Goku's Ultra Instinct in base in the future.
Yeah, because Bardock did not use Ultra Instinct. You're not saying that, but you're saying that his will, what are you saying? What is the connection between Goku and Bardock? Is it their will to fight? And what does that have to do with the Dragon Ball wish that Bardock had made through Monaito?
Well, the commonality here is their survival instincts. In Journey to the West, Sun Wukong had his own personal enlightenment. He didn't just, everybody actually has their own personal enlightenment in Buddhism, and his own personal enlightenment was based in his survival instincts. He actually became sort of a destroyer, but a destroyer for good. He actually represents the karmic circle of life. He actually represents, he is a destroyer in the sense that he destroyed to protect Tripitaka, and eventually, his reasonings for destruction are what separated his intentions from bad to good. So when he first starts the Journey to the West, he's killing all these demons because he just wants to, get the job done so he can be free. He's just doing it because, he's doing it for his ego. And by the end of the story, when he's protecting the monk and his comrades, he's doing it because he genuinely wants to protect them, which causes a new power in him, a power that, comes from the need to not only survive himself, but protect other people. So he had his own personal form of enlightenment, and that's what this is a reference to, which is why they're calling it true Ultra Instinct for Goku specifically, because Goku, this is the answer to his specific Ultra Instinct.
Okay, that's fair, but when Bardock used it, I always interpreted that scene as being the Dragon Balls, and we talked about this. We did a whole video about Bardock and the Dragon Balls, and how the Dragon Ball sort of willed that to happen. Goku does not really have that in his back pocket this time. Is it because of his prior training with Whis that he was able to get to it? Because we know that he knows how to use Ultra Instinct in other forms. Like, we saw him use it in blue and in red. And of course, we saw the silver-haired form. Now we're seeing him use it in base. And I wonder if this is what Whis was talking about when he said, but do you know yourself? So maybe Goku learning more about what Bardock did, who is his father, was sort of him learning about who himself is. And I think we may have talked about this on a stream after that chapter came out a few months ago.
Yeah, well, whenever Gas is fighting Bardock, first of all, he mentions that his blood is pumping and that he's enjoying it as he's fighting Gas. And that's to signify to us, the reader, that things have changed from the previous interaction we had seen with Gas and Bardock to that point, because his Saiyan blood started pumping. And at that point, within that manga chapter, I think it was chapter 83, the tables start to turn, and Bardock actually starts to defeat Gas. And, that is because of his mindset, and which is the reason that, Gas begs the question, what's going through your mind whenever you're, in battle? Like, Gas, he's doing so well that it causes Gas to be curious as to what specifically is going through Bardock's mind whenever he's in battle. And whenever he asks him that, both Goku and Vegeta's problems within Ultra Instinct and within Ultra Ego are referenced, because Gas says that he asks him if he's fighting to atone for the sins of the Saiyans, to which Bardock replies no. And he also asks him if he's giving into the rage of, the possibility of the Namekian being killed, Granola, Muesli, and Bardock says no, he's wrong. And the reason for this, thematically and narratively, is because this mindset is the answer to both Goku and Vegeta's problems. The reason it's being shown to us the way it is because Bardock, thinking about nothing but winning in a battle of life and death, which is basically just a roundabout way of saying that he's focusing in on his survival, or aka his survival instincts, that is the key to Goku and Vegeta conquering their issues. Goku has a problem staying in Ultra Instinct all the time because he has to keep his heart calm, and he has a lot of trouble doing that in battle. So the answer is to allow his emotions to send him into a sort of state of pure survival. It's very similar to what we saw in the Tournament of Power with Goku in the anime, where his body senses when he's in danger, and so it activates Ultra Instinct. It's very, very, very similar to that. But
we saw him use Omen in the Tournament of Power.
That's
but
right.
It sounds like what you're describing is a form of adrenaline.
It is.
When you're about to when your life is in danger, your body kicks in, and like you said, survival instinct is something that we as mortals, as real life people, deal with and have dealt with throughout, for ages, since the since the ancient world, really.
Yeah, and rage in itself is a survival instinct, and so is ego. So this entire section of the story revolves around that very topic and that very concept. So, that's sort of the key for Goku to be able to basically force himself into a suspended state of instinctual behavior, is his survival instinct. So that's why it seems like that's the key for Goku to be able to use Ultra Instinct more efficiently. And we can actually see this whenever Gas and Goku are fighting, because it's not like it normally is whenever, Goku's in Ultra Instinct and he's dodging and he's fighting very efficiently. We see Goku visibly take on a state that's very similar to Bardock's whenever he's fighting Gas, where he's in base, but he doesn't have the Ultra Instinct eyes. He just has like a flowing aura and his hair is sort of glowing. And then a few seconds later, we see Goku go into Ultra Instinct Omen. And what we are seeing there is we are seeing what Goku learned on Earth, because Ultra Instinct Omen is associated, especially in the manga, with what Goku learned on Earth, combined with what Goku had just learned from Bardock, which is the ability to tap into his survival instincts. So when Goku gets hit, his body is reacting in such a way to where
counterattack.
He's getting power-ups that allow him to basically attack and act in a manner that Goku himself would not normally act, because Goku, he at heart, he doesn't have murderous intent whenever he's fighting Gas. He even makes it clear after he is defeating Gas that whenever Elec is treating him so bad and pushing him to the next level of burning his life force away, Goku tells him he can come back and fight me anytime. There's no reason to push him so hard. So Goku is sort of using this state to trick himself into fighting in a manner that he himself normally wouldn't. And you can actually see that Goku is fighting a lot like Bardock whenever he uses this new state of Ultra Instinct. It's a little bit different because he's using, you can still see the earthen martial arts in his movements. But as Gas is getting stronger and the harder he's hitting Goku, the harder Goku is hitting back. And that's because his survival instincts are kicking in when he gets hit. And then he fires back with, what he needs to survive. So, in this way, Goku is getting more powerful just by taking damage, very similar to Ultra Ego, but rather than being in a suspended state of being powered up, we can actually see that the harder Gas hits Goku, especially in this last chapter, the harder he hits him, the harder Goku hits back.
It sounds like Ultra Ego in a way, how Vegeta was absorbing the shots.
Yeah, it is like that, but because he's combining it with Ultra Instinct Omen, he's automatically firing back with these attacks that are extremely powerful. That's something that Vegeta is not doing. He is getting stronger through taking damage, but as far as him effectively taking that fuel and using it in the most efficient way possible, he hasn't pulled that off yet.
Right, and I feel like that could be something that, I think that Goku will still be able to tap into silver-haired Ultra Instinct when necessary, but it feels like, based on the way this was written and based on how that article was written on the Dragon Ball website, that this is going to be the way they do things going forward for Goku, as far as this being the most comfortable version of UI for him. Maybe it's not as effective when it comes to power and speed as, completed UI, silver-haired UI, but I think it's probably going to end up being the one he defaults to most.
Yeah, it allows him to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And that's something he had a problem with doing in the white-haired Ultra Instinct form. He had an issue with being aggressive. So this allows him to go on the offensive. Him and Granola actually had a conversation about that earlier in the arc, about how he could never defeat him until he learns to go on the offensive. And again, it's very similar to the Tournament of Power in the anime.
And we've already seen this in Tournament of Power. The only difference is that Goku's had more of a taste of UI now. Yeah. He's been more experienced with it now. We saw him use it in the Moro arc and again here. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here as far as Goku's development of this technique. So, with that being said, thanks again for being here and thanks again for everybody listening. Leave a comment. I'll talk to y'all soon.